Everybody, Merry Christmas. I'm here with my co-host today, Tree. Doesn't say much, he's kind of quiet. And we're going to tell you a little bit about his history. Christmas trees have a number of roots and a lot of controversy, apparently. I've been seeing a couple of videos, some social media posts, Christmas trees are pagan, we shouldn't be using them as Christians and all this stuff. And, there's a sect of Christians who would agree with you. They were called the Puritans in early United States history. We'll talk about them in a little bit. A lot of people look at the Christmas tree and they go back to pagan roots. They say Christmas trees or evergreen trees in general, that they were part of the winter solstice celebration. They symbolized looking forward to warmer times, the sun god kind of recharging and waking back up. And this is all true. This is, things that pagan religions did. Pagan religions do a lot of things with a lot of different things that God has created and use it for their own devices, which we would say is wrong. It's inaccurate. It's not appropriate, because God created these things to teach us things about himself. And my favorite example of the Christmas tree story that exemplifies that exact thing is St. Boniface. And St. Boniface was a missionary to Germany, went out to Germany, was ministering to and witnessing to some pagans that were there, some people who did not know Jesus, to the effect that they were sacrificing children. And they had an oak tree that they were sacrificing children on, or sacrificing people, but children particularly. One day they were going to sacrifice a boy, and St. Boniface was so angered by this and so disturbed that he went and stopped it by punching the oak tree that they did, and the oak tree fell down. That's what the legend says. Behind the oak tree was a small fir, an evergreen tree. And St. Boniface said that just as this evergreen tree has everlasting life, or lives through the winter, you too can have everlasting life. So he used the evergreen as an example of everlasting life, things that you can withstand the darkness, withstand the things that would kill you otherwise. And that is how this particular tribe and some of the roots of Christianity in Germany started. German and Irish tradition actually is where we get a lot of the Christmas trees. So this start of Boniface's picture of the evergreen as a Christian symbol of everlasting life, of heaven, of this kind of thing, continued to grow. And in Germany, the legend is that Martin Luther, after breaking away and putting up the revolts against the Catholic Church and starting the Lutheran approach to the Christian faith, and was creating creating new traditions in this holiday. He was walking through the forest and he saw the lights and the stars through the tree. Loved the way that looked, and of course, the star on Christmas, the night sky being very important in that. Wanted to duplicate that in his home, and he started putting candles on the Christmas tree. Wouldn't suggest that. Seems like fire hazard, but they didn't have electricity then. So what are you going to do? This is what he did. He put candles on the Christmas tree, so you had the kind of starlight coming through as a reminder of just the beauty of God's creation. And the tradition continued to grow. The trees were very German in tradition, kind of early on in the United States. When the Puritans landed, they had a very strict no decorating policy on Christmas. The only appropriate way to celebrate Christmas to a Puritan is in church. So you couldn't decorate, you couldn't do any of these other things. It was very solemn, and it was actually illegal in many parts of the United States to be in the Christmas spirit. Now, when the German and Irish immigrants came over, they brought a lot of their holidays with them. They didn't really care what the Puritans said, and they started decorating trees outside and inside. Well, there was a man, his name was Mark Carr, and he, in 1851, had the brilliant idea to haul Christmas trees or evergreens from the mountains and the kind of outskirts of the city into New York, because there was a growing demand for Christmas trees at that time. This was the first guy to do this and create the market for people to buy these Christmas trees, and they became more commercialized. And a lot of this was in part to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert, because in 1851, I believe it was, there was a newspaper photo of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert celebrating Christmas in their home in England with a Christmas tree behind it. Prince Albert was of German descent, so it was a tradition that he brought into the royal family there in England. So that popularized it. People started having more demand. Mark Carr brings Christmas trees in. What do you know after that? They start having Christmas tree farms, and everything just as it goes from there. So what's the point of all this? Well, not only is it fun to look at history, because if we don't look at history, we don't learn things from the past, but it's also just one of those things that comes up at Christmas and people like to talk about, and they like to try to find, like, oh, we're supposed to do this, or we're not supposed to do this, this is holy, this is not. Well, Christmas trees are holy because of what we see from them. They're right because of what we see from them. As Christians, when we look at a Christmas tree and we're reminded of God's creation and his beauty and everlasting life that we're able to have through the work of the cross and Jesus coming not just here to live a perfect life, but to also pay the price for sin as a worthy sacrifice, and then to see the promise of that fulfilled in his resurrection. As we are reminded of those things through God's creation, that is a very holy and purposeful intention that God has created the world for. So as we look at these things, it is good, not just for our own souls, but also for us to be able to share with others. So the next time somebody says Christmas trees are pagan, we shouldn't be doing that, say, well, but what about this? What about the symbols that we as Christians have associated with these as well? Because God created those things to communicate his truth to us. My wife always says, and I agree with her, that pagans are squatters. They have stolen the things that God has created to use for their own means. And we as Christians should not allow that. We need to take things back, whether it be Christmas trees or rainbows or anything else. We have the truth of why these things were created, and we need to not only embrace and remember those, but to preach them from the mountaintop so others can hear it too. So, hope this equips you, hope that it encourages you, hope that you were interested. Share it with somebody if you found it interesting, even if you didn't. And we will see you in the next video. God bless you guys.